Hi, I'm Nikki and welcome to my studio. Today I'm going to show you how to make scrunchies using a sewing machine. Head over to my website sewingwithnikki.com.au, download the information sheet and follow along with my video. While you're there, don't forget to subscribe to my emails and updates. Now I teach kids to sew, so I've kept this nice and simple. Now you've cut your fabric to size, you want to fold right sides together lengthways, making sure you keep your raw edges together and press that with the iron. Now mark with a pin approximately 7 centimeters in from each end. Now we're going to sew from one pin to the other using 1 centimeter seam allowance or 10 millimeters. Don't forget to reverse at each end. Now that we have our seam sewn, we need to turn our fabric the right way out. Now, there's different ways of doing it. I like to use using a safety pin to turn the fabric the right way out. So I pop a safety pin on one end and I'm going to push that safety pin all the way down to the other end, and that will turn our fabric the right way out. This is using our fine motor skills, which is of course great for kids. Some of the kids in my class just like to use their fingers to turn the fabric the right way out. It really depends on the thickness of the fabric. And we are the right way out. Now, we can now secure our elastic at this end with the safety pin. And on the other end of the elastic, we're going to put the other safety pin. Close that up. Now we're going to push this safety pin all the way to the end. Now, if I was just doing this, I wouldn't bother using the second safety pin to hold it. I would just hold that in my hand, but sometimes the kids have trouble doing that, so the safety pin securing it at one end is great, or otherwise mum or dad can hang on to it. And we've got elastic going all the way through the tube. So I'm going to hold the elastic, take off my first safety pin, and I'm going to then take off my second safety pin, and I have elastic going all the way through my fabric. Now I'm going to tie that off using a balloon knot. Put the two ends of elastic together and tie that around your fingers and pull tight. Try and keep that knot on the end and test that. Now I am going to untwist my scrunchie, making sure that looks about right. Now I'm going to put right sides together of my fabric and we're going to sew across the end. So right sides together, lining up the edges of my fabric at the top and on the sides. And I'll put some pins across. Don't forget those raw edges need to be together. And now you're going to sew from one edge of the fabric to the other edge of the fabric, lining that up with the 10 or 1 centimeter. Don't forget to reverse at each end. So now we've sewn that seam, we're going to stretch our scrunchie out, and we're already on to our last step. So we've got to sew up the gap. So to do that, we're going to fold in our seam allowance, which is 1 centimetre on both sides. Start where the seam is, fold that in and put a pin. Then we're going to stretch it out on one side, folding that seam allowance in again, and you need a few pins on each side. Now, if you start where the seam is in the middle, it will just help fold the edges in on both sides. So now we're going to pin stitch from the first pin to the last pin. So that's nice and close to the edge, and reversing at each end. As you can see, I have sewn up that gap. Now you've made your very first scrunchie. Test out different fabric lengths and widths and see how you go. Thanks for watching. Bye.